Hello and welcome to Up Your Arts. We look at all forms of art, from the timeless classics to the outright weird and wonderful.
Very true, but do not fear. I'm here to guide you, to nurture you, and Rudi is here to, well...
I'm here to bring class, pizzazz to the show. Celebs love talking to me, I'm such a people person.
We are your culture gurus. Forget Got One, forget Trini and Susanna. All you need is me.
And me, where else would you find dancers, artists, musicians, and film directors all in one place?
Our first guest tonight is just 22 years of age and has already a string of successful novels. He's been writing beautiful poetry for years. We have a very special treat for you on the show tonight. All I can tell you is that Mr. Joe Pasquale and Mr. Stephen Lynch have been lurking about. And finally, Rudi will be talking to Mr. Paul Mills, producer for the British Youth Film Academy. Over to you, Rudi.
Thanks, Ed. Joining us this evening, all the way from Manchester, please welcome Mr. Dominic Took.
Thanks, Rudi. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for taking time out to come and see us, Dominic.
No problem.
I take it that you're an actual writer.
That's right, yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about your first book?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I've got it here, actually. Storms of Asius. It's about a young man called Horatio who is battling against a fantastical storm on his planet where he lives. And it's a very naive and kind of innocent story about the storm and how it affects people. But Horatio is very different and comes to a different conclusion about it.
So then how hard is it for an author, well, a new author, to publish their first novel?
Yeah, it's very difficult, yeah, definitely. I mean, it takes most authors, or most writers, 10 years to become authors and to get published by mainstream publishers. But I've got lots of rejections at home.
Yeah, because you've got another novel that's shortly to be released, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah. And you've got a third in the pipeline?
That's right, yeah. I mean, I've written 6 altogether, but this is well, I'm actually writing the third one in this series right now, so.
So what, do you find that you had a more positive response regarding publishing when it came to the second novel?
Definitely, that was actually the 6th novel that I wrote in that stream, the second book in this series, but it was received much better.
Okay, and you've said that in previous interviews, if you don't mind me asking this.
Sure, yeah, of course.
That you were actually dyslexic.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did this affect you, and what sort of techniques did you use to, you know?
Yeah, dyslexia does affect you greatly, especially with the grammar and your ability to hone the grammar. But what I tend to do is just work a lot harder than most people and hopefully fix it that way.
Okay, well, Dominic, I'm actually going to move away from the written work that you've done.
Sure.
As recently you produced a feature film.
That's right.
Yeah. Shall we take a quick look?
Yeah, let's take a look, yeah.
You sure? Death.
Death.
Very gory.
So that was the trailer for Dead Time.
That's right, yeah.
It looks quite interesting. Could you tell me a little bit more about the film?
Sure, yeah. Well, Dead Time's about a rock and metal band that locked themselves into a studio in Wednesbury, and they're creating their new music video because their careers have been on such a downward spiral.
Okay.
And they basically get killed off from there on in.
So I know that you produced that.
Yeah, that's
So what
right.
are the responsibilities of being a producer, especially as Dead Time, I believe, was your first feature?
That's right, yeah, first feature, yeah. I'd produced stuff before, but not like that. With a producer, you tend to come on at the very start and come off at the very end of the project, so all the way from concept and development through to the end of post-production and selling the product as well.
So what actually attracted you to this particular project, the whole
it's interesting. I mean, I didn't really get into it because I wanted to be a producer. I mean, I've always been a writer and wanted to be an author, but then again, at 18, I published this book. So I didn't really go into it for that reason, but I had an interest in it, let's say.
Okay, because we did a little bit of research on the name, Dead Time. And, do you actually know where it comes from?
Dead Time, yeah. Dead Time's about more of the kind of the satanic and the demon worship kind of things, because the writer who wrote it was into all of that and still is, and it plays quite heavily in the script.
Okay, because I heard that at some point in the film, well, during the film, that all the clocks stop at 8 o'clock.
That's right, yeah.
Permanently stuck.
The crew made sure that we had some little things in there.
So what was the actual significance of it? Was there any particular...
We just wanted to give it that surreal kind of edge to show that there was little Easter eggs almost going on in the movie, little things that you would notice. You know, I think if there are fans of the movie, they're going to notice those things and look for them again in other stuff that we do.
So there must have been quite a few memorable moments, no doubt.
Oh, yes, there were.
Could you share any with us?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I remember one particular night, we were shooting till about 4 in the morning. We were shooting overnight, but yeah, we got to this outside shot that we were doing and it locked the gates to show that the studio was locked up and they were in this studio. And we'd locked the gates, we went to unopen them and the key snapped in the lock.
Okay.
And we were there for 4 hours trying to hacksaw the lock off.
Well, okay. So do you think will there be any actors in there that we might know? Yeah,
there's Terry Christian and there's Leslie Grantham from Dirty Den from EastEnders. So yeah, there's quite a few.
Okay, well, Dominic, it was great talking to you. We're actually running out of time.
No
Please,
problem.
ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Dominic Took.
Thank you.
Thank you. So from film to theatre now, this young New Yorker has made his name singing politically incorrect songs with a damn catchy tune. Our entertainment correspondent, Moses, welcomes Mr. Stephen Lynch in Birmingham on day 1 of his 14-day tour of the UK. Let's have a look.
Thank you. Good to be here. How does it feel to be back in the UK? You spent a lot of time here, or do you stay here? Boring. Okay, you know what? No, I don't even want to know your... I love coming over here. It's a really fun place for me to play. I never knew people knew who I was over here. But thanks to Mr. YouTube, now I can get an audience over here, so it's great. Because I'm not on TV over here, or the radio, or anywhere for that matter, so. You say Lullaby was your first song that you really liked, or you nailed? Yeah. What inspired the song? I get the feeling it was your first song, No, I didn't get divorced when I wrote that at the age of like 20. I have no idea what inspired that song. Sometimes when I have no ideas, I just lock myself in a room and decide that I won't come out until I've at least written something down, even if it never sees the light of day. You were in a band in college. We're the worst band, but I shouldn't say that. Well, these guys know it. We're the worst band in the world. Who and what would you say is your favorite inspiration? I'll give you sort of a stew of people. Journey and REO Speedwagon cover song. And I can't sing that shit. It's too high. But I tried. Just a small town girl. I always drew a lot of inspiration from the singer-songwriter, sort of 60s and 70s people like Paul Simon and Joe Mitchell. And that's sort of why I say that they're my inspiration, because I realized that you could be funny, but you could actually play real music at the same time. I read somewhere that your father is a former priest and your mother is a former nun. So it's always strange to hear somebody else say that. Yeah, it's true. My dad was a priest and my mom was a nun.
Now it's time for my favourite part of the show. I have been busy finding out what's hot and what's not this week. And first on my agenda is Shakespeare. Yes, the 17th of April saw Shakespeare's 446th birthday. Happy birthday, Will. To celebrate this, the Globe Theatre will hold its premiere of Shakespeare's Henry VIII and Henry IV, Parts 1 and 2. This is all part of the Kings and Rouges event at the Globe Theatre, along with many other festivities. As well as Britain's great literary skills, there's also some artistic magic in the form of a man known only as Tea Magic. Drawing on the experiences of his 24 years on this planet, paintings, photographs and sculptures and silkscreen prints have been produced of what he describes as the black hole. Defending his dreams through an aerosol can, the young aristocrat painted pictures of a forgotten community fighting for the right to be heard in a world of limited space. A description of the artist from the artist. Very deep stuff there. The Royal Opera House are conducting a regeneration project in the southeast, part of which is the construction of brand new facilities called the Royal Opera House Production Park. The production park is the home of the new National Skills Academy for creative and cultural industries. Groundwork started on the 2nd of March. Their old set construction facility site in Beckton in London is being demolished to make way for facilities for the 2012 Olympics. And so they are moving their entire complex down to Purfleet in Essex. So while the Olympiads are testing their mettle, the Royal Opera House will be producing sets, props and installation art with the aid of the local community. For more information and to buy tickets for their upcoming productions of Aida, La Traviata and Cinderella, log on to the website at www.roh.org.uk. And finally, as my segment comes to an end, we will leave you with a second of our tonight's treats. Joe Pasquale has been a household name for over 20 years now, most famous for his high-pitched vocals and a song that will really get on your nerves. Our correspondent Colin catches up with him while on his autumn tour. Let's take a look.
Right, I'm here tonight interviewing Mr. Joe Pasquale, and I have a few questions for you. You've previously completed several successful tours. What was the inspiration behind the current one?
I think the main inspiration between touring is that's my bread and butter work. That's what I do for a living. That's what I've done for 25 years. Is do stand-up. So the main pressure behind going out on tour is to pay the mortgage. Really, it's what I do. So it's a job. At the end of the day, everybody forgets it's a job. When I first started out, I had a full-time job and just did this part-time, just for a laugh, really. And then slowly but surely you start getting a bit of a reputation, whether it be good, bad, but people start to know who you are. And then the balance between being an amateur and then semi-professional, and you can't fit them both in there. So you have to take a dive and think, well, if I can earn a living at it, I'm going to mash at it. So basically the main inspiration between going on tours, the reason for doing it is that's my job, really.
So you're a builder and a factory worker for Ford in Dagenham. I mean, what would your dream job be if you weren't a comedian?
If I wasn't doing this for a living now, I would be a pilot, a commercial pilot, because I've got a pilot's licence, a PPL, so I fly about whenever I can. But when I was younger, I couldn't afford to have taken the test, taken the lessons and all of that. I didn't even think I'd be able to do it. I didn't think I'd have the natural aptitude to do it because I was a complete div at school. I went to comprehensive school and got 2 O levels, one in metalwork and one in biology, so all I could do was weld a cat, really. So, at this age now, I'm flying planes. Nobody will come up with me. It'd be great now to be a commercial pilot for EasyJet or something like that. Go to Malaga and my voice would come out. There's a captain speaking and the nuts are out of date. It'd be fantastic. So yeah, long story short, for a very short answer, I'd be a pilot.
Mr. Joe Pasquale, thanks very much. Back to you at the studio.
Does he really talk like that? Oh, no, I mean. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Joining me now from the cooperative British Youth Film Academy is Paul Mills. Welcome, Paul, to the show.
Thanks for having me.
That's okay, Paul. So I've read that the British Youth Film Academy was started by 2 film students.
They were 2 students who wanted to get into film. So kind of know, one was doing theatre and the other was doing theology.
Okay, so what were the goals behind the BYFA?
To bridge the gap between education and employment, to provide some kind of link. There's a big bar to entry in this country within the film industry, social and economic bar, and we try and
I know them ceilings.
We try and level the playing
I know
field
those
a bit.
ceilings,
Yeah.
So is the BYFA only open to students then? And is there any age constriction?
Mostly students, but we're looking to develop kind of education as well. So we bring in teachers to come along and learn how actually the industry is run. There's a big kind of distance between education, actually not here. Here's very good. But in general, yeah, here's very good.
You sure you're not pandering?
No, I would never do that.
So I take it you were a producer for the last British Youth Film Academy feature film, The Perfect Burger.
Yeah.
So how did you become involved in such a promising project?
2007, I was studying for a degree. The British Youth Film Academy was just taking off, and my lecturer there asked me to get involved, and I said no because I didn't want to get involved with students. Had no desire whatsoever to do that. But he persuaded me to do a week, and I've been there ever since.
So had you produced a feature-length film before?
No, not before joining the BYFA. I worked as an assistant director.
But now you've done one, yeah?
I've produced my second. I'm in the process of producing 3 and 4.
Lovely. So on the last film, you used both professionals and student cast, yeah?
Yes.
So how well did the two integrate?
It's really interesting. If you get the right professionals, it works incredibly well. The students that we bring in, we treat them as professionals, and there's only an issue.
It sounds like there's pros and cons.
There is definitely pros and cons.
Okay, what are those? What are those?
It's the unbounding enthusiasm of the students. I'd rather take 10 students who were really keen and had an idea than one professional who'd been around for 30 years and didn't really have the fire in his belly anymore.
Yeah, people get jaded as time goes by.
Do.
I know. So what plan, if any, does the BYFA have to expand across the country or abroad, for that matter?
The cooperative invested £500,000 over a 3-year period to do just that. They want between 10 and 13 academies nationwide. So once that's set up, we'll be producing between 10 and 13 feature films every year in this country.
Whoa! So that basically knocks out my last question for you. You know, I was wondering if he's going to produce 2 films a year. Any reason, you know, like a winter and a summer?
Limited resources. We'd love to produce 2, but we work full year on 1 at the minute. That's kind of enough pre-production time for 1 feature film. We're kind of rushed already.
Okay, well, Paul, it's great having you on the show. Please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Big round of applause for Paul there. Thank you. So all the details for this year's summer project can be found on the BYFA website.
Sadly, that is all we have time for. I'd like to say a big thanks to our guests and to you for watching. So thank you. To end the show, we have one last special little treat for you all. We couldn't let Stephen Lynch leave the UK without having him play one of his infamous songs. However, on this occasion, he insisted on singing a song that was written by a distant relative of his who lived in the medieval times. Well, that's what he told us, but I have my suspicions. So without further ado, Stephen Lynch and Medieval Bush. Good night.
And from me, farewell and good night.
All right, I actually didn't write this song. This is a song written by my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-uncle, who lived in the medieval times. And he coincidentally did for a living exactly what I do for a living. He was a court jester and a troubadour, and used to play songs for the king and queen. And I discovered one of his old lute compositions and transposed it to guitar. And so I'm going to try out this song that he wrote sometime in the medieval period. Hope you enjoy it. Come, fair lady, to mine bed we go, and verily sweet pleasures we shall know. Yet where thy belly meets thy limb, I beseech thee, give a trim, for thy bush doth overflow. My lady doth have a 70s muff, a 1470s muff. Zounds, it's as prickly as a Christmas wreath. Think it might hide some baby birds beneath. Pray, shave it off to make a coat. There are fur balls down mine throat, short and curly's twixt my teeth. I sayeth not thou art furry down there, but it doth resemble Fidel Castro eating a London broil. It's disgusting. I hate myself sometimes. But soft, what hair through yonder girl?